with regard to the fight for succession, I don't want to get into this because it's convoluted, and I don't want to get into this whole usurpation. But when Cambyses dies, and you see the date of his death on the Achaemenid rulers, it's 522 BC, there's going to be a usurper that's going to take the throne.
What?
There will be a usurper. A usurper is somebody who steals something. Okay, if I usurp, I take power in an illegal way. Okay, it's somebody who seizes power illegally. Okay, you're welcome. A usurper will in effect take the throne, but he's going to be deposed by a fellow who has a distant relationship to Cambyses. Distant meaning a blood relationship. This person is Darius. Okay? Now Darius is going to kill the usurper and his bodyguards, and it's going to take him a while to establish dominance over the Persian Empire. Remember, the Persian Empire is large. So it's going to take Darius about 2 years of campaigning. It's going to take Darius 2 years of campaigning to reestablish the empire's territorial integrity.
Military campaign?
That's right. Now, Darius is going to be clement with those vassals, meaning those servants, who remain loyal. But anyone who associated with the usurper, anyone who associated with that upstart who had seized power, Darius is going to retaliate with brutality against them. And when I say retaliate with brutality against the insurgents, this is what I mean. I'm going to give you an example. You don't have to take this down. Okay? One of the upstarts is a fellow named Vardish, who will have his nose and ears cut off, his tongue torn out, and was impaled, all on the order of Darius. And that's how he's going to deal with anyone who's going to will have thrown in their lot with the usurper. Okay? Now, because that usurpation is very convoluted, I don't want to subject you to that, being that I'm a little time pressed. Now, when Concord is fully restored in 521 BC, Darius will begin to expand the empire's borders. Darius will begin to expand the empire's borders by incorporating northwest India under his rule. So now he's beginning to expand the empires past his predecessors, and look at the map. Northwest India here would basically mean, in effect, what would be modern-day Pakistan. Okay? Modern-day Pakistan. Exactly. Sindh and the Punjab, the 5 rivers area. Okay. Now, while Darius was a talented military leader, he will also promote himself as the embodiment of justice. And he's a very capable administrator. For a polyglot, multi-ethnic political entity. He's a very capable administrator for a polyglot. Polyglot means multilingual, right? Many tongues. Multi-ethnic political entity. And that's what the Persian Empire will be. Now, if you're going to have an empire, how are you going to rule it? It's one thing to conquer, it's another thing to rule. And this is how Darius is going to rule the Achaemenid Persian Empire, and his descendants will do the same. He's going to organize the empire into 20 units called satrapies.
that makes it like apple? Isn't that apples apple?
You can think of it that way. Yes. Yes. What you're going to have is a satrapy will be run by a crown-appointed official known as a satrap. And he is, in effect, what you'd be describing him as, a vassal of the Shah himself. Okay? Now, some of these satraps are local noblemen. Some of them are local noblemen. But most of them are members of the Persian aristocracy. So the majority of satraps will be members of the Persian aristocracy. However, for a local rule, there are big exceptions. I'll explain to you what the exceptions are. Jerusalem will have a Jewish representative. And on the Ionian coast, over here, Ionia, what would be the western coast of Turkey, there will be Greek representatives in the cities. And this is Darius being sensitive to the makeup of the ethnicities there, and of the faith there in particular. Now, what's going to happen is these satraps will live in luxury as you'd expect them to do. And they're going to be supported by large agricultural expanses. They're going to be supported by large agricultural expanses. They will keep their own courts. They will legislate, collect taxes, and sometimes keep their own private armies. Over time, many of these satrapies will become hereditary fiefdoms, meaning that over time they're going to bequeath the satrapies to their male descendants. It will become generational over time. Now, there's a problem when this happens. The problem is, I could be an able administrator, but I could have a son that's an idiot. Okay? Which means the quality of the satrap's leadership will deteriorate if I have a lazy bastard, if I have a moron, if I have somebody who's mentally enfeebled, lazy, whatever. The satrapy will go to ruin. Which means that the Shah is very, very interested in keeping it running well. Rishi, show up on time today. Okay. Get it, see. Now, the Shah has an interest in making sure the satrapies run well. And what the one thing it doesn't want is to have somebody turning a satrap as their own domain, right? Okay? So he wants to keep the satraps efficient on the one hand, right? But he also wants to make sure that they're not so efficient that they'll declare themselves independent of the Persian Empire. Kenny? Any other empire has? No.
Or like any other event where why is that different?
It's not any different. But you see, Darius is not interested in doing comparative history. Darius is interested in doing what works for him. And he's not thinking, oh, is this going to be like the Roman Empire that will come a few centuries after I'm dead? He's basically thinking about what's expedient for him. And that's why he's organizing this. Yes?
I think that Darius was otherwise known as Achaemeneid. Is there any connection between them?
We'll address that later. You know, I want to get into the way he'll portray himself to the people later, and how he portrays himself as Shahs, and how he's going to actually claim a Zoroastrian basis for his rule. Okay, and Alan? No. Mhm.
Is there a reason why they were testing that that's not going to be Jewish?
Yes, I thought that I had mentioned that before. Basically, we wanted to make sure that if there's a group of people of strong ethnicity or religion, that it would be easier if they were to be ruled by their co-religionists or co-ethnic. Okay, it makes it easier to do. Okay, and from where what? Oh, not even, not even close. I mean, it's not a big guess, but no, not even close. The Ottoman Empire is going to rule some similar areas, but not totally. As a matter of fact, a lot of the Ottoman Empire will be in North Africa, Eastern Europe, and here. We're going to find out that a lot of the satrapies will stay actually under Iran, and later on there will be Central Asian. Surely it will go over those forward. Yes.
So we know the satrapies are male, and they're passed on the generation.
All the satraps are male.
Up in the passed by generation, will have
Correct.
male and female.
Then you better get a male. You're going to replace it with a male. You're not going to have a female satrap. It is a strong patriarchal patriarchal empire. Yes, Paul.
I don't want them to go and back up to the world, divided among soldiers of the war.
Oh, very much so. And we'll get to that when we talk about the... Oh, totally. We'll talk about that when we get to Alexander's conquest of the Achaemenid Persian Empire. Of course, as you know, Alexander the Great will deal the death blow to the empire itself. Now, over time, once again, satrapies will become hereditary fiefdoms, and to ensure that the power of the satraps will be held in check, Darius is going to assign secretaries to them. Darius will assign secretaries to them who will monitor their behavior and report back to the emperor. Okay? Yes?
All the secretaries are Persian?
The secretaries, for the most part, will be Persian. That's correct. They're going to be the people that that Darius trusts the most, and he's going to have them basically watch over the satraps, because you want to make sure that if someone's going to watch over the satraps, that they're not going to become seduced by the satraps into being corrupt, and then basically in effect negate what you intend to do, which is keep the satraps on a tight leash, on a short leash. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the imperial troops, and imperial means, of course, troops under the Persian Empire. The imperial troops, once again, are under the direct command of the Shah, and his troops will be garrisoned in each province to make sure that no satrap gets the wrong idea. And the wrong idea means revolt. Okay? Which means I'm going to take some troops that are directly under my command. I'm going to put them in your satrap in Charlotte, your satrap in Marion, yours Annie, yours Usara, to make sure you're good girls, okay? And make sure that you, in effect, are doing the right thing. And what's going to happen is, if a satrap oversteps his authority, he can be executed. And this will happen. You're going to see it in Sardis with a fellow named Dorides, but you don't have to take down his name. If you just know that if a satrap oversteps his authority, he can be executed, and Darius has no problems in doing that. Darius, in the event that he deals with rebellions, he deals with them this way. He gets the rebels together, and he basically has them sit down on sharp spikes. And he's going to lift up the sharp spikes so that gravity is going to push the spike through their rectum, out their mouth. They will be shish kebabed and paled. That's his preferred method of dealing with traitors. Okay, the Romans were not any more pleasant with regard to the way they disposed them. Okay, you know that if you're a traitor to Rome, you have a hook thrown through your body and dragged through the streets and dumped into the Tiber River. If you're a woman, you would get the same treatment. If you're a female traitor and you're a virgin, the executioner would rape you first and then kill you. So, you know, Usually sedition is the most execrable crime you can have against the state itself. So the state wants to make sure they make an example of you in the event that you feel your testosterone level is high enough to challenge the Shah. Okay?